Very good afternoon to you. So let us start with the proceedings. I will be continuing from page number 78. The topic is Silk Road. Text is Hornbill, and it is chapter number 8. So hereby I am sharing the screen with you. Kindly confirm me whether you can see the screen or not. So Bipasha, is the screen visible to you? Please confirm me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So let us start with the class. See, here it has been given, but I had to wait because see, Shitan and the narrator, they were undertaking the journey, right? And Daniel already departed for Lhasa. Now Shitan and the narrator, they were both there. Okay, so Shitan is giving the narrator company, and now they had taken a half an hour break. In the course of their journey, they had taken half an hour break. So see what happened after that, and it is a travelogue. So author will be sharing his experiences, and he had shared his experiences with us. But I had to wait. Shitan told me to go and drink some tea in Hot's only cafe, which, like all the other buildings in town, was constructed from badly painted concrete and had 3 broken windows. Now this is something very important, that Hot, as you know, been told earlier, it was a grim and miserable place. So it had only one cafeteria, and the important thing is that even the condition of the cafeteria is it was in a dilapidated state. I repeat one more time, it was in a dilapidated state. Dilapidated means it was in a broken state. Okay, that it had 3 broken windows also. Even the place is poorly furnished. But there is one positive thing, is that if you sit in that particular cafeteria or in that particular cafe, you will get a good view of the lake Mansarovar. See now. I repeat, Shitan told me to go and drink some tea in Hot's only cafe, which, like all the other buildings in town, was constructed from badly painted concrete and had 3 broken windows. The good view of the lake through one of them helped to compensate for the drought. Now obviously one positive thing is that despite the place is broken and dilapidated, one positive thing is that a good view of the lake can be found. Okay, so up to this it is clear. Shall I move on to the next paragraph? Now obviously the narrator had ordered tea, and the narrator sipped on herbal tea, that we will get to know later. But still he was unable to sleep at night because of excessive cold and cough, and he was having some breathing problem also. So all these things we will learn today itself. See, it is written, I was served by a Chinese youth, okay, in military uniform, who spread the grease around on my table with a filthy rag before bringing me a glass and a thermos of tea. So obviously that Chinese youth, we can say it's a waiter. So he came wearing military uniform, typical military uniform, and then given a glass and a thermoflask. Inside that thermoflask, tea was kept. So half an hour the author had spent there, and the author was feeling very lonely because he was unable to communicate with anyone. I repeat one more time, he was feeling lonely because he was unable to communicate with anyone. And it was like a solitary confinement, because everyone was speaking in Tibetan language and the author can't speak, and hardly few people can understand English. So he was feeling like a fish out of water. Okay, he was feeling very uncomfortable. Clear? Now see, Shitan relieved me from my solitary confinement, and we drove past a lot more rocks and rubbish westwards out of town towards Mount Kailas. So after half an hour they again started their journey. Okay, after half an hour they started their journey. Now as you know it, that the author is a professor. He is also an environmentalist, a very concerned environmentalist, and he is an adventurer also. So whenever you will find that there are many descriptions been given here in the text related with accumulated garbage, rocks and rubbish and rubble and all this. So here we find the same thing being described, and the car was actually moving on both the sides. Accumulated garbage, rocks and rubbishes are being spread or littered. That means the place has become totally unhygienic. But see, you can't avoid this place, okay, this small town by the name of Hor, because if you have to visit to Lake Mansarovar, if you have to trek to Mount Kailash, you have to go by this place, okay. And obviously it's a grim, miserable place, okay, little vegetation whatsoever, rugged and rugged place, and obviously rocks and rubble can be seen, accumulated heaps of garbages also can be seen. So it's not a very healthy place, it is a very unhygienic place. Even the only cafeteria in Hor, it was also, it looked very much grim and miserable itself also. Even it is dilapidated, it is in a very dilapidated state also, we can say. Now I am moving on. I hope up to this it is clear. So now see the next line, my experience in Hor. Hor is the name of the town. Remember, questions will come from here. This is a very, very important segment. So my experience in Hor came as a stark contrast to accounts I had read of earlier travelers' first encounters with Lake Mansarovar. Now a bit of historical information will be given to us. Way back early in the 1900s, a Japanese monk visited this place. Okay, which place, dear students? It is Lake Mansarovar. Okay, at that time the place was neat and clean, and the Japanese monk was so much impressed that he started crying also. He burst into tears. See this line, Akai Kawaguchi, a Japanese monk who had arrived there in 1900, was so moved by the scanty of the lake that he burst into tears. He started crying. A couple of years later, the hallowed waters had a similar effect on Swin Hedin, a Swede who wasn't prone to sentimental outbursts. Now this is something very, very important, that a Japanese monk by the name of Akai Kawaguchi, who arrived there in 1900, was very much impressed by the purity. Scantity means the purity of the lake, that he was so emotionally charged up that he burst into tears. Several years later, another Swedish traveler by the name of Swin Hedin also had similar experiences. That means he was also very much impressed by the scanty of the lake, by the beauty of the lake of Mansarovar. Now all these are historical references that he stuffed in his writing as we get to know about his many experiences that he had in the course of his journey. Okay, now I am moving on to the next paragraph. Any doubt up to this? Vipasha, is it clear to you? Any doubt? You can ask me. Okay, fine. Okay, so let us move on. It was dark by the time we finally left again, and after 10:30 p.m. we drew up outside a guest house in Darchen for what turned out to be another trouble night. See, by 10:30 it was a long day ride. Okay, it was a heck of a ride. We say no, sometimes it was a heck of a ride. It was a long day ride. So by 10:30 p.m. they drew up, means they came near a guest house in Darchen. They were very tired, they were hungry also, and the author was having a fear at the back of his mind that there might be another troubled night. Now why troubled night? Because he was suffering from breathing problem. That is the main issue. See, kicking around in the open air rubbish dump that passed from the town of Hor had set off my cold once more, though if truth be told, it had never quite disappeared with my herbal tea. Now previously, as you know, in the only cafeteria in Hor, he had ordered a tea. He had consumed herbal tea. As I told you, herbal tea is good for health, but since he was climbing higher altitude, because of the fluctuating in the weather, he was not feeling well. He was having some breathing problem, cold and cough. Okay, one of my nostrils was blocked again, and as I lay down to sleep, I wasn't convinced that the other would provide me with sufficient oxygen. Now this is something very, very important. Now one of his nostrils got completely blocked up. Now he was not sure that with the other he can have sufficient amount of oxygen or not. My watch told me I was at 4,760 meters. Okay, that is the height, or we can say that is the altitude. Now how can he measure it? Obviously with the help of his wristwatch. Okay, he can actually measure at which altitude he was above the sea level, that he could measure with the help of his wristwatch. We have learnt about that particular specific wristwatch of the narrator. It wasn't much higher than Ravu, and there I had been gasping for oxygen several times every night. I had grown accustomed means used to, all these nocturnal disturbances by now, but they still scared me. Now this is something very, very important. Now obviously you remember this one, the altitude been mentioned here, 4,760 meters. It wasn't much higher than Ravu. Ravu was much more higher than this. Ravu was also a base camp, and we have read about Ravu in the very first paragraph of your NCERT text. Okay, we have read about it in the very first page only. Now I had grown accustomed because for maybe for a month, maybe for more than a month he was there. So slowly and slowly with the weather he got very much accustomed, and obviously at night previously also he had some breathing problems. He managed it somehow, but ultimately that particular night in that Darchen guest house he had a bit of breathing problem, and whenever the moment he was lying down he was suffering from breathing problem. The moment he got up, at that time he was fit and fine, but he was very tired, he wanted some rest, but unfortunately the moment every time he was lying down he was having that breathing issues, that breathing problem. See, I had grown accustomed to all these nocturnal disturbances by now, but they still scared me. Nocturnal means time at night. That he had grown accustomed. Accustomed means used to. Because previously also, as I was referring right now to you, that previously also he had this type of nocturnal disturbances, but somehow he managed. But that particular night he had a fear at the back of his mind that if he lie down he may not wake up again. Now this line has been written. If we move a bit down we will find this line been mentioned. Okay, so let us move on. Tired and hungry, I started breathing through my mouth. After a while, because he can't breathe with the help of his nostrils, it has been blocked up totally. After a while I switched to single nostril power, which seemed to be admitting enough oxygen, but just as I was drifting off I woke up abruptly. Abruptly means all of a sudden. Something was wrong. My chest felt strangely heavy, and I sat up, a movement that cleared my nasal passages almost instantly and relieved the feeling in my chest. Curious, I thought. Okay, now curious, why? Curious means something that is very strange. Whenever he was lying down, he was having all sort of breathing problems, but whenever he was getting up, it seems that everything instantly got recovered. Okay, he was not feeling that sort of a problem that every time when he was lying down he was feeling. Okay, so for that reason he decided to try to sleep again. Okay, he decided to lie down again, but every time when he was lying down he was having the same breathing issues, he was having the same breathing problem. Okay, see, same result as I told you right now. Every time when he was lying down he was having the same breathing problem. I was on the point of disappearing into the land of naught. You know what is the meaning of naught? Naught actually means nothingness. Okay, that is the meaning of naught. When something told me not to. It must have been those emergency electrical impulses again, but this was not the same as on previous occasions. This time I wasn't gasping for breath. I was simply not allowed to go to sleep. Now previously he was suffering from breathing issues. He was suffering right now also, but the moment he was lying down it seems that he had a phobia at the back of his mind that he may not wake up, and adding up to that he was suffering from excessive cold and cough, and that is because of being in a mountainous region for more than a month and traveling into higher altitudes. Okay, that is a prime factor related to that. Okay, now I am moving on to the next paragraph. I hope it is clear to you. Is there any doubt at the back of your mind, or up to this it is clear to you? Is it clear? Shall I move on? Okay, then I am moving on to the next paragraph. See, sitting up once more immediately made me feel better. As I told you, whenever he was lying, he was feeling as if he was having some breathing problem. But the moment when he sat up, okay, when he was sitting up, it made him feel better. I could breathe freely and my chest felt fine. But as soon as I lay down, my sinuses and filled and my chest was odd. I tried propping myself upright against the wall, but now I couldn't manage to relax enough to drop off. I couldn't put my finger on the reason, but I was afraid to go to sleep. A little voice inside me was saying that if I did, I might never wake up again, so I stayed awake all night. Now this is something very, very important. Okay, a little voice actually inside me was saying that if I might never wake up again, that was the fear, that was the feeling at the back of his mind. So he stayed awake all night. That was the reason, that was the only reason that he stayed awake all night. See, I couldn't put my finger on the reason, but I was afraid to go to sleep. Why he was feeling afraid? Because he couldn't breathe properly. And since he couldn't breathe properly, he couldn't sleep properly. And he was very tired also. And that fear, that phobia, that fear he had at the back of his mind that I may not wake up again. So what he did, despite he was very tired, despite he was dead tired, he decided to stay awake all night. Okay, and the next morning what happened? The next morning actually Shitan took him to the Darchen Medical College that looked more of a monastery, less as a medical college. Even the doctor there looked like a normal Tibetan guy, more of a normal Tibetan guy, less as a doctor. See, Shitan took me to the Darchen Medical College the following morning. The following morning means the next morning. The medical college at Darchen was new and looked like a monastery from the outside, with a very solid door that led into a large courtyard. We found the consulting room, which was dark and cold and occupied by a Tibetan doctor who wore none of the paraphernalia that I had been expecting. Because normally when you visit a hospital doctor, the doctor wear uniform, white coat, then stethoscope is there, but we don't find anything in this doctor. Okay, he was wearing a thick pullover and a woolly hat. Okay, nothing much. See, so no white coat. He looked like any other Tibetan with a thick pullover and a woolly hat. When I explained my sleepless symptoms and my sudden aversion to lying down, he shot me a few questions while feeling the veins in my wrist. Obviously, the author started a conversation. He was speaking in English, and it was Shitan actually who helped in the communication, because he acted as the translator. Because the author was speaking English and the doctor gave his final diagnosis in Tibetan language. Okay, see, now it is written here. And remember all this. What is the dress of the doctor? He was wearing a thick pullover and a woolly hat. These things are very important. And consultation room is there in every hospital. So, the narrator went inside the consulting room and went on a discussion with the Tibetan doctor. When I explained my sleepless symptoms and my sudden aversion means, dislike. Aversion means when you are unwilling. Okay, because he told everything, or what are the symptoms he was facing sleepless symptoms, okay, sudden aversion to lying down, all these things. He shot me a few questions while feeling the veins in my wrist. Okay, now because the doctor was checking the pulse, and obviously at the same moment he was listening to whatever the narrator was communicating, and obviously Shitan was also there, who communicated everything that the narrator was saying to the doctor. It's a cold, he said finally through Shitan, a cold and the effects of altitude. I will give you something for it. I asked him if he thought I would recover enough to be able to do the Kora. Oh yes, you will be fine. I walked out of the medical college clutching a brown envelope stuffed with 15 screws of paper. Now see, obviously the doctor made his diagnosis, and what was that? That the narrator was suffering from cold and the effects of higher altitude, and obviously he was given some local Tibetan medicines, and in a brown envelope 15 small pieces of paper. Those papers were folded. Okay, listen to this very carefully. Now inside each folded paper, medicines were given. Okay, these are the local Tibetan medicines, and all those folded papers, inside all those papers medicines are there. All those folded papers stuffed with medicines were then put inside a brown envelope. Okay, and a 5-day course was given to the narrator. See here it is written, I had a 5-day course. I had a 5-day course of Tibetan medicine which I started right away. I opened an after breakfast package and found it contained a brown powder that I had to take with hot water. So because the later medicines that were given to him that he had to take after lunch and after dinner package, those medicines to him were hardly recognizable. Okay, the one which he could recognize was that he consumed after breakfast, that was a brown powder that he had to mix up in hot water and then he had to take it. See the contents of the lunchtime, this is very important, the content of the lunchtime, and hereby I highlight it, and bedtime packages were less obviously identifiable. Both contained small spherical brown pellets. They looked suspiciously like sheep dung, but of course I took them. That night after my first full day's course, I slept very soundly, like a log, not a dead man. Now this is very important. Now he was given a 5-day course. After consuming for the first day, that night he slept peacefully. Okay, he had no breathing issues as such, and the early morning he woke up fresh. We will get to know about it. Though the place Darchen, it was a bit dirty, and it was all dirt and dust, but still he felt fresh. He was given a 5-day course. After consuming the 1-day course, he felt very much relaxed. Okay, and though he was suffering from having a good night's sleep, okay, but after consuming the medicine, okay, the medicine that was given to him, he had his peace of mind, and obviously he slept peacefully. See this line before I end up this discussion. This last line is important of this page. That night after my first full day's course, I slept very soundly, like a log, not a dead man. And obviously I slept like a log, not a dead man. I was sleeping, but I was not dead, and he had that phobia that whenever I will be sleeping, I will be dead. So thank God that phobia got erased from his mind. Okay, thank you for joining the class, and I hope what are the things I discussed, I hope it is understandable, and I hope you had understood whatever been taught. So thank you for joining the class, and stay safe, and see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.